Democratic presidential hopeful Bernie Sanders dropping out of the race.
He made the announcement one day after Wisconsin voters held their primary. Professor Dave Dulio from Oakland University's Political Science Department joins us now. And Dave, at this point, is this a slam dunk for Biden? Do we even need to have a Democratic convention in a COVID-19 world?
The answer to your question, Jay, first of all, good morning, everybody. The answer to your question is yes on both fronts. It's a slam dunk for Biden. He has no challengers left that have an active campaign. But yes, there needs to be some kind of action by the Democratic Party to formally nominate the candidate who will take on President Trump in the November elections, and they need to do that with per the rules as they exist now, with some votes by delegates to a convention. That could change, but as it sits right now, they need to do that.
How was the reaction from President Donald Trump when he heard the news about Sanders dropping out?
It was expected. That President Trump has almost on cue with every candidate that's dropped out of the Democratic race, tweeted about it or made some comment. So in pretty standard Trump fashion, I guess I would describe that as his reaction to the Sanders dropout.
How do you even strategize right now? I mean, you have to look at where the world is right now and where political campaigns would be right now. So if you are on the president's team, how do you strategize going forward? You're in the middle of a pandemic right now. How do you even think of November?
That's a great question, and it is the COVID-19 crisis is going to create new problems for candidates up and down the ballot across the country. But I think in respect to the presidential race, if you're the president's team, you are going to take advantage of the powers of incumbency and the powers of the White House. You may see a Rose Garden strategy continue for the rest of the summer as the White House continues to coordinate the federal response to the healthcare crisis.
Professor Dulio, I'm curious to know how this pandemic is affecting politics in general. Do people, you think, care as much as they used to about it? Does it take a back seat, or is it more important than ever? What are you hearing from people?
Well, Amy, I think the answer to your question is those are both accurate. I think that the politics and government is never more important than in a time like this, when we are relying on our leaders, we are relying on our elected officials to make incredibly important decisions about the way our lives are going to proceed. But at the same time, a lot of Americans will disengage from politics in times like this because, frankly, they've got bigger fish to fry. They are going to worry about the status of their job, how they're going to make their rent payment, how they're going to try to get to the grocery store in a safe manner. So their priorities will often shift in a time like this, with politics falling down the ladder, understandably so.
We have just 30 seconds left. If you're Joe Biden right now, and you have everything that's going on in the world, you have the president, giving press conferences every single day that are sometimes 2 hours.
Right.
How do you cut through and say, hey, I'm here, I'm running for president?
It's really difficult, right? And you see that playing out with the Biden campaign right now. They are trying from time to time to get the former vice president injected into the conversation. And it's really difficult to cut through the clutter and all the other things that are happening right now with respect to the coronavirus. But and there's really nothing else they can do. They have to do their best to try to get him in front of the cameras again, or get him in front of the American people, but it's really hard to do that.
One more question. I know we're going to go, but I think this is very important that we ask you this. We saw some people going to the polls the other day and exercising their right to vote. It was very controversial. What do you think about that process and what it's doing to our ability to express our votes, have our voices heard, and moving forward, how's this going to affect just the way we vote and the outcome of elections?
A great question, and I think a lot of this just remains to be seen, where we're going to have to probably make some tough decisions about how to proceed. And I think once we get past a decision about whether or not we're going to use all mail voting, all absentee voting, if you might put it that way, but the logistics of that are going to be potentially really hard for the state to pull off, and knowing that 50 states plus DC manage their own elections, you could have some differences across states. You will have differences across states, and it'll be really important that our state governments and federal governments coordinate to get on the same page with that.
Professor Duilio, Oakland University, always a pleasure to have you on, even during the social distancing. Your insight's always fantastic, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, I wish we could have him on every day.
My pleasure. Good to see you both.
Thank you so much. We'll be back.